What's going on, guys? Lucky Cheese 7 is back again to give you guys Eden Zero, chapter 221. The last chapter of 2021. But also, it's, how do I say this? This is also the last chapter of the volume. Believe it or not, chapter 221 is the last chapter of volume 25. And I can prove it. Go back to yeah, practically for a while now. If you know like the pattern here has been going at like for like a super long while, like yeah, because from volume 20 it ended on 176, 21 was 185, 22 was 195, 23 was 203, no, 194, 203 for volume 23, and then the latest volume, volume 24, and that just came out recently. That ends on chapter 212. So, playing logistics into account here, this volume just ended. Volume 25 just ended with this chapter. And I'm going to be perfectly honest. I couldn't have asked them for a more fitting conclusion to the volume. And I was anticipating that we got something because usually when it comes to the ending of a volume, we get something big. Usually. Or we kind of get like a nice little bow pack, which is kind of rare. It's kind of rare to get stuff like that when it comes to manga series because usually it's like, okay, we have this. It's either like setting up something, or it's like, you know what, we'll end off here and then we'll pick up. It's usually like something like that. So you're stuck in a cliffhanger, or it's like, let's see what happens next. And that's kind of one of those things where it's like volume 21 does feel like one of those places where it's like, you know what, we just got done with the crazy battle. Let's keep it like an open-ended situation where, you know, there is a closure to the volume and there's more to come in that sense. But there are a few little tidbits that we do need to talk about with Eden Zero. One, considering the fact that it's in its final arc now. I mean, it's not like we didn't know that was the case because Zhao Mei kind of hinted at that for the last few chapters. That, yeah, we're now approaching the final arc or the final events of the story. So this was kind of something I'm pretty sure a lot of people took into account. All right, we're now approaching the end of Eden Zero. Like and I said this too a while ago. Once Ziggy's out of the picture, I don't really think there's much left for the story to tell. And considering, like I said, that this is the end of volume 25, kind of says a lot. But I'll go more into that when we get to the end of this, like the end of like the discussion points of the chapter. So here's the thing. I talked about chapter 220, and the fact that Hero was able to like recall all this back to chapter one, like the very first opening page, and he kind of ends off 120 with the same notion of like, yo, are we real? Like, he correlated all the way back to that, like the whole ship with the Eden Zero, like that. That's incredible. So we start off chapter 221, and it's with Rebecca and Happy, and Happy's like looking out the window. Look, Rebecca, there's a weird planet over there. And Rebecca's like, but we're filming on a different planet today. And Happy says, this says it's the rundown old theme park, Grandpa. Rundown theme park. Ew, no thanks. Still, it feels like the ship is resisting my directions. Is it being pulled to that planet? No, that's silly. Which I kind of have to wonder. Part of me is kind of sitting here going like, Hero, come on. I think we all know. I think we're very much aware of why, you know, this was happening. Because, hey. So, next page, we get the Granville Kingdom. We see all the bots there. We see Shiki, old school Shiki with like the long hair and everything, like working on Michael, and he says, "Okay, now to connect you to the repair system." And there, all better. And Michael's like, "Thanks, as always, Shiki. Don't mention it, Michael. We're friends." Next on today's schedule is fixing the cat in the forest. A cat. It's supposed to be a quest monster. Without any quests, there's no freaking there ain't no freaking guests, is what Michael says. And as soon as I saw the cat, I was like I kind of had a feeling based on how this chapter opened up, and based on Shiki's hair design, that this was like chapter one. Like yeah, for the most part, this is like chapter one and stuff because even the cat, when we see the design of the cat, it's like yeah, this is like clearly chapter one. But what I thought was interesting about this is it's all from Shiki's perspective. Aside from like the opening two pages, or like the opening page, yeah. Aside from the opening page, it's very much Shiki centric. Like if chapter one was from Rebecca's point of view, this is Shiki's point of view, and I think it's a nice spin because you get this, and you're kind of getting a little bit of the stuff that happened like before Rebecca like hit the scene too, which is all interesting. So I think it's kind of cool that wasn't just there by coincidence. He was there because he was just trying to fix the cat. He says, "Yo, how have you been?" "All right, not good. Sorry for asking." So Shiki hops onto the cat. And he's like, "For this guy, I can open the hatch on its head, get it to the maintenance." And right when that happens, like Shiki's like, "Wait, what the hell's going on? Why do I feel so heavy? My gravity ether is out of control. Like I'm being pulled to something." Which is interesting because this same thing is something Rebecca stated earlier like in the opening page, which is like, yeah, something's pulling. Like the ship itself is being pulled towards the planet, and Shiki's like over here with the cat, and the cat's like, "Oh, like I'm being pulled to something." And by this point, it's Rebecca. We see Rebecca here. It hits the floor. Rebecca's like, "Kitty!" Like this. Honestly, this page over here is like straight up from chapter one. Not even kidding you. It's straight up from chapter one. Actually, before I forget, I honestly forgot to actually link this somewhere. So quick little thing I gotta do. But no, I think it's fascinating. It's honestly really, really, really fascinating to see, where everything is. Because reading through like this portion of the chapter, I was like, wait a second, is this chapter one? And I had to do like a double take because going through it, I was like, holy shit, this is actually. Sorry about this, guys. I just totally forgot that there was like one other spot I forgot to link this to. But it's not something that just lasts for long. Let me just say that this isn't something that lasts for long. Like, because you see this, it's pretty much beat for beat, like page by page. Like even the part where Shiki's like there, you see Rebecca giving the expression to like a person. That Shiki again, Rebecca's expression, human, so soft. Like, cause I, I kid you not, like I legit had to go back to chapter one and be like, wait, is this exactly page by page? And when I looked at that, I was like, oh my god, that is page by page. If not, there was a few little details here and there that are like different, but for the most part, it's pretty much page by page. And the change really doesn't start happening until like a couple pages later, because you see Shiki, he's like, there aren't any other humans, just me. And man, this takes me back to like just Shiki in a position where he's at using Rebecca. She's like, stop staring at my panties, jerk. Oh, so you're one of those women, a human woman and a cat. A cat? Oh, can I? No, like it's honestly such a treat because this really kind of gives you perspective on like how far Shiki's come as a character. Like you see Shiki chapter 1 and you see where he's at right now. It's way different. It's a way different ballgame for Shiki. And I'm totally okay with that, by the way. And Rebecca's like, what's wrong with it? And he's giving her that glare and she's like, what? It's like, well, what are you so angry about? It's okay to just calm down. That's a good boy, okay? And it's not even just the fact that it's old school Shiki. Like, this is like also pre-time skip too. That's the other thing to take into account. So you see Shiki, extend his hand. He's like, "Will you be my friend?" And Rebecca's like, it's kind of thinking about like, "Huh? What? I want to be." And the change really happened like right now. For anyone cares, like the change that happens occurs at this specific point. And what I'm talking about is the exclamation mark right next to you. Like they both have that look. Like, wait a second, what's this link? So you get the memories of what happened next. No freaking way, friends. You can be friends with anyone. Doesn't matter if you're a machine or human or human or machine. Same difference. No, you're coming with me. We're friends, aren't we? Like the memories like started piling back up. Like the stuff on Blue Garden, the stuff on Gills, Digitalist. Like, memories are coming back. Ziggy, Red Cave, like even like the aftermath of the Hour War too. Like all of these moments like just start hitting back up. And the very last moment Rebecca and Shiki had together in the last chapter, where where they both tell one another that we'll find each other again. Like that shit hits me deep so much. But as I was going through this, what I also realized was that hold on, we've been through this dance before. I just needed to make sure it was 100% concrete before I actually said something because what you get from here, you see Shiki calling out Rebecca's name. You have her saying the same thing, saying Shiki. They're both crying. Happy's crying too. God damn, getting me in the feels for Christ's sake. Both got the look, expression of joy. It was a nice, beautiful panel, by the way. Just looking at one another. Blush on Shiki's face, blush on Rebecca's face. Tears coming out through his, tears coming out through hers. And this was something I saw coming from a mile away. Because, and I've mentioned this time and time again, my exposure to Hiro Mashima, first and foremost, was Rave Master. That was how I got introduced to the world of Hiro Mashima, was through Rave Master. Rave Master was like an all-time classic for me, all the way going back to third grade. So Rave Master was what I read first, then I got into Fairy Tale, and then, part of the course, Eden Zero comes in. And given the pattern we had, Haru and Ellie in Rave Master had a similar hug like this. Fairy Tale. We had a moment like this between Natsu and Shiki. But here's the big thing. Here's the biggest thing between those two moments. Those moments occurred in the final chapter of their respective series. This moment, however, I kind of thought, okay, if we're playing schematics here, I'm 95% certain that we're going to get an emotional hug scene at the very end of the series. I just thought it'd come par for the course of being zero, and given what Hero's done in the past, it was just something that I kind of had in my mind. I was like, yeah, I think if it comes to storyline, and certain moments, Hero could definitely do that. But he decided to do it here, which was interesting. I That's what I didn't anticipate. It's a moment I saw coming. I just didn't think we were gonna get it like right here, right now. And that makes sense. And I'm not mad about it, by the way. I'm not mad. I'm actually really happy we got like this hug scene between Shiki and Rebecca. And another big difference here is that aside from those two moments on happening in the endings of their respective chapters, the first one to actually give one another a hug, one the other person a hug was Ellie. Ellie was the first one to give Haru the hug, and then shortly after, like he puts his arms around her. Natsu, I don't believe gave uh, Lucy the hug in in the final chapter of Fairy. Because I know with Natsu, at least at that point, it was like, hey, we're gonna go on this adventure. Who cares about all that? But it's just Natsu being Natsu, which is it comes with its charm. But here, what I noticed was that not only do you not only do you have Rebecca giving Shiki a hug, like with her arms around him, he's also putting his arms around her, which is an interesting point. And I actually made a post about this on Twitter. If you look at both of the moments, or all three of the moments here, between Haru and Ellen, Natsu Lucy, Shiki Rebecca, like it's the girl that puts her arms around the guy. But here, it's both of them, which was really, really telling. And I didn't even notice that at first until I started grouping the pictures together. And like, if this doesn't hit you in the feels, I don't know what does. I want you to say that right now. I don't know what does. But this was definitely a sight to behold. It really was. Like the illustration, the way how Hero like paneled it together, like I don't know how much more you could get out of it than this. And shit, if it came down to the anime, I can only imagine how far the anime would probably take this one. But anyway, that aside, you get them hugging. We're together again. Rebecca, happy. Shiki, we found you. And Rebecca's like, that's why I was drawn to this planet. So I can meet you. Yeah, essentially that's the thing. Like, the reason why they were both kind of drawn to each other was the fact that, hey, we could do everything right. And Shiki says, should I say I'm home or welcome back? And, Rebecca says, neither. We still have our memories, but in this world, we've never met before. And I love the last panel of this chapter because it ends off with Shiki saying, let me ask again, will you be my friend? And Rebecca said, yes, I'd love to. That's the ending of the chapter, and that's the ending of the volume. It's such a wholesome note to end on, and it's such a wholesome note to end off the year for Eden Zero. Like, guys, like you have no idea. Like the stuff that was going through my mind while I was reading this, and like the emotional beats I was like, and this was solely Shiki and Rebecca. That's the other thing. This one was solely dedicated to the two of them. And we've had a ton of Rebecca and Shiki moments. Okay, maybe not a ton, but we've had we've had some noteworthy moments between Rebecca and Shiki. Whether it comes to post Aoi War, um, Rebecca giving Shiki a kiss on the cheek, and then just this, like it was that. Um, Actually, let me double check on the chat because there's a few. Let me see here real quick. So we got that. We get the emotional embrace. Actually, yeah, we did get the emotion. We did give the hug, like just Rebecca telling them that it was gonna be okay. when he was in distraught about which. Um, them doing the silly expressions when they were like at that spa. Yeah, and then the last chapter, chapter 220. So we've had some, some Shika content in throughout the year. But like I said, I think this one topped it off, in my personal opinion. Like this one, definitely for sure. Then, like, if I had to put it in order, I would say this moment is at the top. And then you had the "we'll meet each other again" in the last chapter, so that's number two. The kiss on the cheek, that's interchangeable. But I would say like it's a nice little moment, but and then like top three, I would say no top four. This one, the end of chapter 220, the kiss on the cheek, and then of course, just Rebecca giving Shiki comfort. Like, hey, it's gonna be okay. We just have to pull through this. We have to. Like, and like I said, what a way to end off the volume. Like, there isn't a more perfect way you can end off this volume. Like, okay, yeah, sure, you could be like, well, we have to know what's coming up in the future, and that is something to talk about. Given that we have this chapter, uh, you could even kind of argue and say, like, yeah, this is technically the start of a new arc. Like, what's to come for Eden Zero in 2023? Well, I already talked about the fact that we are entering the final arc of Eden Zero. And that's something that was announced, I think, a few days ago, where they said that Eden Zero is going to be entering its final arc. And there was a huge outcry from certain haters going like, "Oh, see, do you see Eden Zero is not sellable? That's why it's ending." When in fact, when it comes to the story, and given, like I said, go all the way back to Xiaomei. Xiaomei was the one that hinted at this, that we're ending. Like, we're going to be approaching our final destination, our final arc. I mean, you can't exactly tell me that, oh, yeah, it's totally because we're quote unquote getting canceled when that's not the case at all. It really isn't. But keep in mind with this also, with Eden Zero, Hero had this story mapped out. I'm not going to say he had it mapped out 100%, because if you go to the afterwards section of Volume 24, which I don't think we're getting until August, I think. Um, I know in English it doesn't come out until August. Let me double check on this. So, okay, 21 comes out in February. 22 comes out. Okay, 21's in February. 22's in April. 23 would probably be June. So, given the math on that, I would probably say 24 comes out in August. Yeah, definitely. 24 comes out in August. Which would mean that Volume 25 more than likely will come out in October, I would say. And if that's the case, Volume 26 will most likely come out in December. But here's the thing I want to say here. And this goes all the way back to Volume 3, I believe. Hero said that Eden Zero was going to be kind of like a blend between how he planned out Rave Master and how he planned out Fairy Tail. Where in Rave Master, he had the story pretty much like set in stone. He knew every point of detail of where that story was going to go. However, with Fairy Tail, aside from like the character's backstory, he didn't really have an idea as to like what the story could tell. Not what the story could tell, but he didn't really have a map of where the story of Fairy Tail was going to go. He had backstories, not necessarily story, if that makes any sense. But even then, like when you see what Hero was able to do with Fairy Tail without a story mapped out, like it's still decent. I'm not gonna say Fairy Tail is like trash. I still like it, but I've always often told people Rave Master is a superior series to Fairy Tail. And like I said, this one, Hero has stated that Eden Zero is like the blend of Rave Master and Fairy Tail, where he has the story beats planned out for Rave, for not Rave Master, for Eden Zero. He has like the bullet points of what the story of Eden Zero is going to be about. But the destination of how we get there is where things get interesting. That's kind of where the fairy tale aspect comes into play. Is that he has the story idea. It's just a matter of how he gets in certain plot points, which I've always said is a really intriguing way to like tackle a story. It's like, yeah, you have the story in mind. You have you could say they're cliff notes. I like to call them bullet points. So you have the bullet points of the story. How we get to those bullet points though is where the excitement part comes in. And Hero has stated that, yeah, like there are certain things like here and there where I probably could have fleshed out a bit more. I mean, the biggest thing when it came to Zero that he admitted in the latest volume was that Irene, Irene, um, who in Hunter Your Quest, I will say, some pretty decent. But as far as Elsie and Acto Well goes, originally he had that fight like kind of mapped out. Not mapped out, but it was supposed to be a lot longer. But it was due to the series' pacing. The way he paced out Eden Zero, that fast pacing is where he was just like, he's like, should I slow down the plot or should I just go forward with what I have? And like I said, in those situations, it's like it's tricky because we cover a lot of content in a volume of Eden Zero. But that's one thing I do want to say. Hero covers a lot in one single volume of Eden Zero. So it does become like one of those questions where you ask yourself, like as a writer, do I slow it down a bit just to tackle this portion, or should I just continue with what I had? And like I said, there's a plus, there's a positive, and a negative on both of these aspects. The positive is that you probably would have ended up with a better result in terms of the fight. Probably. The downside is the pacing would have slowed down. So it's like, okay, what do you pick then? Do you pick a story that's a bit fast paced, or do you pick, you know, a moment where you just slow down and just go like, okay, we'll be stuck in the scene for a moment. Like, it's situations like that. And then there's, the whole situation with Cure, which you could tell, I noticed, I was like, uh, the reveal was cool, but it was also one of those things where you kind of sat there thinking, maybe you could have worked that a little bit better. And Hero did admit that too. Like, yeah, I probably should have built up Cure a bit more before we got to the big reveal. Here's my thing, though. What I've always appreciated about Hiro Mashima as a mangaka is that he's always honest. He never gives no bullshit statements at all. He's always 100% when it comes to things that he talks about. And you can track that all the way down to the first one really back. Everything he mentions, he's honest about. Like, even when it came down to Fairy Tail's ending, like, he admitted that, like, yeah, like, I didn't plan out the ending of Fairy Tail. He was honest. He was like, yeah, look, I didn't. And, with this, there is an ending. And considering the fact that this moment we have between Shiki and Rebecca happened before the final chapter, okay, you could bring up schematics and say, well, it's technically the last chapter of the volume, so it kind of counts, but it's not the final chapter of the series. That's the big thing. This is not the final chapter of Eden Zero. Which, like I said, has me wondering what's gonna be the creme de la creme for Sheikah at the very end of this. Because, like I said, Natsu and Lucy, we got a big emotional hug at the end. Haru Ellie, we got a hug, but here's the thing: we did technically also get like a one-page wedding between Haru and Ellie. You know, whoa, hold up! I just blew my own mind here, but just by saying that. So we got an emotional hug scene between Haru and Ellie and Ravens. And at the very end, like the last page of Raymaster, if I remember, I'm pretty sure the last page, it's a wedding. It's quite literally like their wedding. I'm pretty sure. Because I know Raymaster by heart at this moment. I am 100% certain that the last page was of their wedding. I'm 100% certain. See here, so you get the emotional hug. 7. The end of this journey. It is indeed. I gotta look at this quickly. Yeah, even the memory stuff too. Like now that I'm actually looking at it, like when it comes to all the memory stuff, even that comes from Grandmaster too. Like all the moments between the Haru and Ellie, just going into that moment, like I said, get the same thing with Natsu and Lucy. So it's not exactly new territory for sure, but it's always nice. And that's what I also appreciate about another writer too, is that like even like some of the smaller moments where you don't think they're gonna be like that impactful, they come back into play when it comes to like big moments like this with like couples and whatnot. But let's see here. Yeah, so yeah, the last page of Rave Master, when you get to the end, the think of the end page, it's of Haru and Ellen's wedding. Which maybe you could get that. Yeah, no. I think that's possible. I think there's a 99%. I think there's a 95% probability. Maybe not that high. Let's say 90% probability. There's a 90% probability. Still high, by the way. But there's a 90% probability that either we get Shiki and Rebecca be wed. They're married. As like the final moment for their romance. Or, and this has been a prediction I've been having for a long time, and that's the role of Zhao Mei. Zhao Mei is the narrator of the story, okay? And my theory for the longest time has been that Zhao Mei is the future daughter of Shiki and Rebecca, and she's ultimately telling the story about her parents. And here's the thing: you go all the way back to uh, the Meldian arc. When she was talking about her having visitors and whatnot, she came across Cheek and Rebecca, and those were her visitors, right? But here's the thing: if you notice like certain panels or whatnot, the way how heroes structure certain things, Zhao Mei is sitting up on a throne. It's very similar to the throne that Shiki was sitting on in on the Eden Zero ship. It's very similar to that. And if you look at like the side by side comparison, you can kind of have the idea that she has certain quirks that's very reminiscent of Rebecca, but also have certain quirks that's very reminiscent of of Shiki. And I'll do a more in depth analysis on that theory. But that's just the thing I've had for the longest time is that Xiaomei is telling the story of Shiki and Rebecca, and we just come to find out that Shiki and Rebecca are her parents. That's what I think. Like, think about it like this. Think about it like this. She's the time oracle. Okay, time plays a huge asset in Eden 2, and we've known this because of Rachel and because of Rebecca. Who's one other person in Eden Zero we know that also revolves around time? Is Xiaomei. Given that little detail, like I feel like that's what the hero is probably setting us up for. Is when it comes to the last chapter, Xiaomei is gonna go to the corner, and we're gonna see Shiki and Rebecca. She's gonna cry. She's gonna be in tears, and she's gonna be like, "Mom, Dad, glad to see you again." Like, and again, this wouldn't be the first time heroes pulled a trick like this, because again, go back to Raymaster. Everybody remember Levin? Levin is a character that was just randomly dropped in as like a bonus character for like the volumes. And the whole time you're kind of thinking, who's this kid's parents? Like he was just some kid on Garage Island, and he was talking to Nakajima. It was like these fun little antics or whatnot. But and spoiler alert if you haven't read Rainmaster, but you find out that Levin is actually Haru and Ellie's kid. So, given that Xiaomi's the narrator, and the fact that Mother took away her memories of like how she got her abilities and whatnot, I think that says a lot. I really think that says a lot. But hmm, I don't know. I could theory craft about that all day. I really could, but like I said, I'm gonna do a separate discussion video just related to that theory, and I'll probably have that out. Yeah, I'll probably have that video as like the first video of the new year. But I do have something else I gotta work on too, behind the scenes. So keep that in mind. But how do I think we're gonna get introduced to like all the other characters, like with Labilia, Wise, her like all the shining stars? It's an interesting situation we're in right now with these zero because it's like, okay, do we go through each of the individual arcs, or are we gonna just gonna like do a? I wouldn't call it a breeze through, but definitely like a shortcut path. There's a few different directions of where you go. Like I said, with what Rachel mentioned, there's no keeps anymore. Once something is set in stone, there's no turning back. So if a character dies, they die. That's why when Rebecca thought back to what Shiki said in her nightmare about Happy, that could still very much play out. Happy could still potentially die. That is in fact a possibility. We don't know yet, but I'm really intrigued by with what Hero has in store for us. Is there some room to be concerned about it or to be cautious about? Yeah, obviously. I think there's a few different directions we could go in with this current arc. This what is the saga called? I think the saga is called the Universe Zero saga, right? I'm 100% certain that's what the saga is called. Yeah. So this is the Universe Zero saga, which could probably change to Yukino Cosmos saga eventually, or the Yukino Cosmos arc. It really all depends. But I do think the next person we're probably going to meet, if we're going by the event of the story, I think it's going to be Labilia. Labilia going to be the first person we meet. And I think perhaps, like, I don't think this is going to be a case where everyone's going to come back in the next chapter and then they're like, oh shit, we remember. I don't think it's that necessarily. What I think is going to happen is that the entirety of this next volume is going to focus on that. I do feel like that's what's going to happen. It'll be Labilia, then it'll be Wise, it'll be Hermit, etc., etc., etc. Like, y'all get what I mean. And I think we will eventually get back to the concept. I feel like that's set for the course. I think we'll probably get that. I think. But let me know, what do you guys think? How do you feel the rest of the story is going to play out from here on out? How do you guys think everyone else is going to be reunited? Do y'all think we're going to get back to the 3-year time skip? And do you guys think that potentially Xiaomei could be the future daughter of Shiki Rebecca? Fun little theory to talk about. And with Eden Zero entering its final arc, then there's two possibilities with that, and I'm going to end off on this before I close up the stream. I think there's a probability that either we end off Eden Zero in 2023, like that the last chapter comes out like towards the tail end of 2023, or it could very well end, in my opinion, like early 2024. That's my thing. I don't think you go past 2024 for me. I definitely do feel like 2023, early 2024 is going to be the extent of what Eden Zero goes up to, and then that's it. I feel like that's what we have left with Eden Zero, without a doubt. So, like I said, let me know what you guys thought about this chapter. What was your favorite part about it? How did you guys feel about the emotional embrace between Shiki and Rebecca in this chapter? Where do you guys think the story is going to go moving forward? And how do you guys think everybody is going to be reunited? And as I remember, guys, that's pretty much it. Look at you 7. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more Eden Zero. How long do you guys think the series has before it finishes? Again, my prediction: late 2023, like super late 2023, like this time 2023, and or it could be early 2024. And aside from that, guys, I will catch you guys later. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more Eden Zero content. And when the next chapter drops, y'all will know I'll be there. Peace.